We'll call the January 5th, 2021 board meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have two new commissioner-elects here with us today for their first meeting. Judge Model will be administering the oath of office to these two new commissioners. If you want to begin with Mike, since I see Mike stood up.
Lee, where do you have the camera set for him?
We got him right center frame right now.
Okay.
Is this good? Yep. All right. Raise your right hand on the Bible, please, and raise your right hand. And repeat after me.
I, Michael Ketchmark,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution
to uphold the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and I pledge to do my best
and I pledge to do my best
on assuming the office of Commissioner for District 5
on assuming the office of Commissioner of District 5
in Wright County
in Wright County
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Amanda, you're going to hold after her. And Mary, you're going to put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand for me. Okay. I, Mary Wetter, do solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the State of Minnesota and the Constitution of Minnesota to the best of my ability by assuming the office as County Commissioner for District 4 in Wright County, Minnesota. I pledge to do my best of my ability. Congratulations.
Some signatures. Yeah, you can use that corner there as well.
How come you didn't have to? What? How come you didn't have to do it?
We didn't either, did we?
Well, no, he was just reelected.
You're gonna sign on that one right there, and then I'm gonna subscribe and
We
inform
used to
on the
be in
bottom
Old
line.
City, we stood up at Otter Treasures back when we did try to
Oh, I
sign
know.
papers, yeah.
Just the official harder copy in the back
Okay,
if you
and
could.
then,
Unless
I
you
thought
want
that there was a
additionals.
state statute. I thought that's what they were saying.
No.
I didn't think so either.
What did I do with mine?
yeah.
The orange thing.
Very lovely. Congratulations. Welcome to Wright County.
Good.
That's my sheet.
Sure, absolutely.
And right there. And then on your other one too. All right, and you have one from the Secretary of State?
Do you want to do that guy too? Okay.
So, this one though. I know we have that.
Yep.
So, I assume
This will go to the recorder, yeah.
yeah, but Mike has to sign it. Do I have to sign it too?
I don't see that you do.
I don't think so either. So Mike, this can be done after. We'll help you. I'll sign these. Congratulations. Sign these so you can keep the meeting going.
Very good, thank you, Judge. Feel free to use the corner there if you need to. All right, thank you. Our next item of business is the board reorganization for 2021. The first item would be to a motion to appoint a chair for the board for the upcoming year. I would entertain a motion. Commissioner Hewsome.
Mr. Acting Chair, I would make a motion to elect Commissioner Martha Leiden as the next chair, 2021.
All right, a motion made for Commissioner DeLyden to serve as chair. Is there a second on that motion?
I will second that motion.
All right. Any other nominations? If not, I'll call for a vote on that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, congratulations, Mark. You are now the chair for 2021. I will turn the meeting over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Administrator. All right, we would need a motion and a second for a vice chair for 2021.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Hewsome.
I'll make a motion to elect Commissioner Vetch as the vice chair for 2021.
Motion by Commissioner Hewsome. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Wetter. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. All right, we need to vote to transfer the back of any unused funds in the county attorney's contingency fund, sheriff's contingency fund, and the incidental fund to the general revenue fund.
Mr. Chair, motion so moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by, and Mike, I gotta ask, how is your last name pronounced?
Catchmark.
Ketchmark.
Right.
Okay.
So it's like your name at the end.
I've heard it called all sorts of different ways, so I just want to make sure I get it
Some
right.
closer than others.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So, seconded by Commissioner Ketchmark. Is there anybody have any questions regarding that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All unused clerk hire and unused budgets for 2020 to be returned.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to recall all unused clerk and hire unused budgets for 2020.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Wetter. Voted to recall an unused clerk hire and unused budgets for 2020. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. For the meetings, in the past, we have had county board regular sessions on Tuesdays, except for the second Tuesday of the month. Meetings are normally at 9 a.m. We always have a county board workshop on the second Tuesday of the month, and that meeting starts at 9 a.m.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to set all Tuesdays except for the second Tuesdays of the month as the county board meetings at 9 a.m. The second Tuesdays of the month being set as a workshop at 9 a.m.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Hewsome. Is there any discussion on the matter?
Yes, Commissioner Chair. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to give a little background from the last several months of talking to constituents in District 5. The majority didn't know, for one thing, when the current county board meeting was on a weekly basis. And when we talked about it, a lot of them said, well, we're working at that time at 9 o'clock. So their option is to take 8 hours of vacation time to come to a meeting if they want to weigh in on it. Now, you can watch it later that night or the next day, but you can't weigh in on anything because it's too late. So we talked about possibly alternating and having a 1900 meeting maybe once or twice a month on a Tuesday for purposes of giving more people in the workforce more opportunity to show up and voice concerns rather than having the option to watch it with help some people to keep in touch, but if you want to weigh in again, you don't have that option.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Houston.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly appreciate that, Commissioner Kashmark. We've had this discussion a number of times, and probably Administrator Kelly can address it better than any of us, but what the difficulty is all the staff involved in overtime for these meetings, and so that's one of the things that's come up. And in the past, when they've done evening meetings, nobody's come anyway, and they also interfere with a lot of the township officers' meetings and sometimes city that meet on Tuesday evenings. So that's my take on it, but I mean, other people can certainly weigh in, but we appreciate that because it has come up in the past, and we've had the discussion.
Anyone else?
No, Commissioner, we've had, like I said, Commissioner Houston said, we did do a cost-benefit kind of analysis on it and kind of the amount of expense that would go into it, and then the ultimate side of the conflictions that it comes with between the cities and the township meetings that a lot of us regularly attend, ended up making it much more challenging, as well as the amount of advisory committees that meet on Tuesday evenings as well. That's where, because a lot of the, as you'll see here, getting into a lot of the advisory committees meet in the evenings. So that's where it became a challenge and a rub in being able to conduct county board meetings in the evenings. But I think it's something we can have some more discussion and maybe review after you get some chance to maybe have some questions, because we can always modify as we go.
And just for everyone's benefit, there was thought about the cost that was brought up, but as we look around, we have a lot of salaried people and folks that the overtime factor does not come into play on a majority of the folks that I see come into the meeting. So there was some consideration on that part, but I also understand from the 64 committees that we're deciding on today that there's a lot to juggle on those evenings also at cities and townships, but just passing that along. Thank you.
No, great point.
Houston.
Mr. Chair, and I mean, certainly when someone has an issue, a pressing issue, basically people that they're looking at the agendas and they know about, things that are coming up, they're able to make those adjustments. And generally speaking, we don't have, I mean, this is great to have a full house like this, but generally speaking, you might have one or two people, unless there's something of particular interest or, if you want to say controversy, then people are able to make those arrangements, so.
That's fine. Thanks for the feedback.
Mr. Chair, and I do want to note that we have, in numerous occasions in the past, scheduled meetings in the evening when we do have issues of, I guess, controversy or of large discussion. So, and keep that in mind, if you ever hear from anyone that has those type of issues, that we're always open to a meeting in the evenings when those issues come up, so.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, I was echo that. We've had a number of public meetings and hearings in the evenings, so.
Mr. Chair, I have another question too on these workshop meetings. If a decision gets made, can it be voted on at that workshop, or is it brought back to the?
Brought back to the board.
Back to the
To the next-
general,
to the
general
next
meeting?
meeting.
Okay, that's,
So no, the workshops are only consensus and that sort of stuff, so
Okay,
no.
thank
We
you.
vote on it on the following meeting.
okay, thank you.
Is there any other discussions or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. All right, regarding the committees, the fun one. Now, not all of these committees will be discussing today because some of them are regarding HHS committees, and that we will be doing next week on Monday. Budget Committee of the Whole, as it says, it's the whole, so that's all of us. And that will be, it's always a challenging and fun. Building Committee, in the past, it was Commissioner Burrell, Commissioner Potter, former commissioners. And I was curious to find out if Commissioner Kazmark, Commissioner Wetter, if you'd be interested in that one.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
The ditch committees. The ditch committees meet occasionally, not very often, and then normally it's regarding something that is specific. Normally it's kind of been me, along with whoever the commissioner is from the area that the issue is.
Enough said, I'll take it if that cuts to the chase here.
Since he only has a couple hundred feet of ditch in his whole district.
Yeah, so I'm kind of a neutral party. I have no,
I'm
No
very
dog in the
comfortable
fight.
in a ditch.
all right.
CIP finance.
So yeah, the Finance and CIP Committee has been myself and Commissioner Vetch. I'd like to continue with that, Commissioner Vetch.
I would absolutely like to continue with it.
Is there any objections to that from the new commissioners?
No.
Okay. Continue with that. The Noxious Weed Appeal Committee. I don't think I've ever met
I think, yeah.
ever with it, but I believe by state statute, we need to have it.
Correct, yes.
Commissioner Wetter, Commissioner
I'll
Kazmark.
take it.
Okay. Any objection?
No.
It's nice to have it in place in case.
Yeah, well, like I said, I believe by state statute, we don't have a
Now,
choice.
watch this year, they'll meet like a dozen times.
Every month.
Every other day.
Nuclear, it's currently Commissioner Vetch, Commissioner Hewsome, along with a number of staff. I'm assuming we want to keep with that.
We do need to put a third person on
We
this
do?
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we have to have an alternate, so.
Okay. Commissioner Wetter, since you live, myself and you both, but since you're going to be around longer than I am, would you be interested in serving that as an
Sure.
alternate? So
Sure.
if something happens to one of these two?
Mr. Chair, I think what we learned on the last drill is that we actually need we should have two commissioners at, at the EOC, because if something happens, I mean, if there is an actual event, and one would do 12 hours and one would do 12 hours, so you kind of need to have that person, and the other person goes down to Homeland Security in St. Paul. And the last drill, we have two drills, Commissioner Vetch, where you went down the last two times, right, to St. Paul? I had done the first two times. And we were talking about perhaps sending our communications director with the person that goes to St. Paul, because it's like an actual drill. You feel, I mean, you go in for the briefings, and you do, you go in front of the press, and you do all these things. It's very real with all the different agencies. It's fast. It is fast moving. So, yeah.
All right. I don't have anything to add to it, no.
Okay.
Yep.
So it sounds like you'll be busy with that, Commissioner Wetter. So is that all right
yeah.
with you?
Sure.
All right. Owners Committee, and this is just regarding the new government center. It's only going to be a few more months, hopefully. Myself and Commissioner Vetch is on that. You want to continue with that? Any objections? All right. Personnel and Employee Relations, it has been myself and Commissioner Hewsome, and Commissioner Vetch as an alternate. Commissioner Hewsome has agreed to give up her spot. Since Commissioner Vetch has been the alternate, I'll continue to give him my guidance and my years of wisdom regarding it. Is there any objections to that at all?
Since my multiple year of trying to get on the committee.
So we do need an alternate. Is there, either new commissioners interested in Personnel Committee? You end up dealing with the union negotiations in the future, which is in another 3 years.
Actually, it's next year, right?
Yeah, we're settled through
2021.
21 here, and then
So,
22.
and
Is it 22 when we go in negotiations again?
We'll end up starting next year.
Doesn't it? Just,
Oh.
just finish.
So much fun.
Right?
Well, I'd be interested in the alternate spot.
Okay.
All right. That's it.
And safety, it has been Commissioner Burrell and Commissioner Hewsome. You meet, what, quarterly,
no, we've been meeting monthly,
monthly for the safety?
but,
I didn't realize that.
yeah. We've been meeting monthly, so it's, kind of we review,
And it's with all the unions and stuff, right?
no, it's often incidents that have happened in the county and ways to mitigate that, and so it's, the risk manager,
No, it sounds like it's represented from each of the unions, too. According to this one, unless you're mixing it with something else.
yeah. We haven't had that, have we, Administrator Kelly, with the,
So this group originally started kind of around operations here at the Government Center and safety concerns. Since time has passed, that formation really hasn't met. What we have met as a group to meet the requirements of OSHA to have a safety committee, which has representation from numerous staff groups. Basically, we selected a representative from each of the labor unions, as well as
do,
others,
yeah.
so.
Okay, so Commissioner Kesmark or Commissioner Wetter, Commissioner Vetch,
I'd take that.
is there any objections?
Oh, so we Hewsome and
Hewsome and Kesmark.
Catchmark.
Ketchmark. Oh, I'm gonna have to be corrected. I can see that already. It's been too long since I've kept hearing other names. Security. Has that met at all recently?
we have not met,
Is that by state statute, or is that something, I know we started it regarding this building and having some issues and stuff.
correct, and, yeah, Mr. Chair, we, I've been thinking about this one because we have not met. However, I think that it's good to keep it in place in case we need to, revisit some things that are going on in the Justice Center, the new Government Center, that kind of thing, but
Well, how
you're
about-
right, it did start as, because of, we're non-compliant, with the courts, and we needed to figure out ways to,
How about if we combine safety and security?
they're two different things.
Well, for the amount of the information that security is, I mean, the two kind of do go hand in hand in a way. If you're not secure, you're not safe.
Well, they're pretty different, but I don't know.
I inquired a couple times with somebody else on that, and they weighed in and said they were, echoed what you said and said they were separate. But I've also had feedback, Mike, is there any way you can combine some of these 64 committees? But if this isn't one, it isn't one. But I've heard the same thing that you've heard, but
Yeah, they're quite different.
It's like, but like you said, it's one of those ones you have out there that then you may not even meet in the whole 12 months of the year, so.
Right, and at some
It's
point,
more of an issue-based committee.
maybe we dissolve it, but I think it doesn't hurt to keep it on the books. I mean, we're still new in this with our moves and everything, with the Justice Center just being open for a few months and the Government Center going to be going online this year, that I don't think it hurts to keep that in place in case we need to call it. It's basically an ad hoc at this point, because we were meeting regularly for a while, and then we put me
well, I'd be interested, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah, you're a natural for
I
that.
don't need my arm twisted any
All
further.
right.
You can't bring your gun to
I'm
it.
assuming Commissioner Houston will be keeping her spot, so, perfect.
Tax Forfeit Committee. This only meets once or twice a year. It was former Commissioner Burrell and Potter. Is anybody interested in this one? You want Commissioner Wetter and Commissioner Ketchmark?
Yes.
You both interested in that one?
I would be.
All right.
It's just a matter of looking at tax forfeited properties and kind of coming up with a value and for it to go to auctions or to try and resell them back, or some of it ends up being little pieces of property that is next to somebody else's place where it's just trying to sell it to them or coming up with.
Was
fair
anyone else
market value.
interested? I won't arm wrestle anybody for it if they want it.
I'm not, I have a lot of them already here, so I'm trying not to,
Well, I just thought I'd ask, but if that's the consensus, I'll take that, Chairman.
That's fine, like Chair Glyden said, they don't meet that often, but it's just, making some decisions, and those decisions come before the board, so.
Okay.
Technology's been Commissioner Vetch and myself. I'd like to continue with that. I believe Commissioner Vetch also, the two of us, it takes to keep our IT director in check, so I think we're best suited for that at this point, since he's a former Navy man, I believe. Transportation Committee of the Whole, of course, that's the all of us. Ways and Means, that meets occasionally with Commissioner Burrell and Commissioner Houston. Commissioner Houston, you want to continue with that?
Sure, yeah.
Commissioner Wetter or Commissioner Ketchmark? Which one would you be interested in the Ways and Means? It's kind of a catch-all of different things.
mostly contracts.
Projects that come up, yeah, there's,
I'd be interested.
Okay. Uh, 911 Planning Committee, it was Commissioner Burrell and Commissioner Hewsome with former Commissioner Potter as alternate. Commissioner Hewsome, you want to continue with the 911? Commissioner Ketchmark
I'd be
or
interested in that.
Awesome.
Commissioner Wetter, do you have any concerns?
No.
who's now?
Do we have to have an alternate on that one? I think
Oh, yes.
An alternate?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good idea,
Well,
too.
then I'll be an alternate.
Okay. Okay, advisory boards. Isn't this fun? Isn't it? Interesting? AIS, Commissioner Houston, Commissioner Vetch, is this
Mr.
good?
Chair, I'm interested, I'll open that spot up if anyone's interested, just because there's some other spots that I'm looking to fill elsewhere in the list.
Commissioner Houston, you want to stick with that one, Ed?
Yep,
Okay.
If there's somebody
unless
interested.
someone else. But I'm fine with sticking with that one.
I will stay there if nobody else wants it. but I
Commissioner
was-
Catchmark, Commissioner Wetter, either of you interested in the AIS?
It doesn't matter to me.
Sounds like you volunteered.
Oh, okay. So you're off then,
Yeah,
Commissioner Vetch? Okay.
See, that's what happens when you say it doesn't matter to me. It's kind of like, I volunteered.
Oh.
So be
Mr. Chair,
careful.
Mr. Chair, I'm learning. Remember that.
she won't say that again, right?
Well, you never know.
Never know, right?
Area transportation planning, it was former Commissioner Potter.
I'd like that one, Mr.
Commissioner
Chair.
Vetch. What we've kind of looked at is that regarding any type of transportation, we need to have one person that's a voice for all the different things, so. You'll be seeing Commissioner Vetch's name coming up on that more often. Bertram Chin of Lakes, Commissioner Vetch and myself have been on that. I know I'd like to continue with that.
It's within my district, I would prefer to be on there, just, there's a lot of things between the city of Monticello and the county. So.
Yeah, so I agree. Very important for you to be on that one. Any objections to that? All right, Central Minnesota Economic Development. It had been former Commissioner Potter. And Dwayne Northgate, and that needs to be changed.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I would like to take on the economic, Wright County EDP.
Now, this.
Or Central Minnesota, yeah, but this one kind of works with the Wright
Yeah,
County
this is the
EDP from the
central one,
SEDS.
yep.
Yeah, this is the SEDS project, which we do every 5 years. So I would like, because this will be heavily involved with our county EDA as it comes forward. So.
Yep, and you were the alternate too. Central Minnesota,
Alternate?
pardon?
Do you want an alternate?
Yeah,
Oh,
we should
yeah.
assign an alternate as well.
Anybody interested in that one?
I would be.
Okay. EMS Region Joint Powers Board, Commissioner Hewsome, you still want that one, or?
I would like to keep it for my term
Okay,
and
The alternate.
alternate.
and who would the alternate be interested? Commissioner Ketchmark?
I would be.
All right.
Since you do have some experience with some of that sort of stuff.
Allegedly.
That goes back to some of those names again. I hate these masks. Nobody can see you smiling.
That's
You know,
right.
you lose that personal touch.
There's emotion and context lost.
We actually have-
Central Minnesota Jobs and Training, Commissioner Hughes, you want to continue?
Sure.
That was a resounding yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
she was
there-
just like
if you're
exuberant about it.
interested
She's
in
like.
Somebody else?
What?
Are you still interested, or would you like to allow somebody else to take that one on?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I
You
mean,
didn't sound real
I
positive.
didn't?
Just
No.
for sure.
All right, Commissioner Hewsome. Central Minnesota Emergency Services Board, Regional Radio Board, was former Commissioner Burrell and Commissioner Hewsome as the alternate. I would recommend Commissioner Ketchmark.
There you go, catch mark.
Sure.
Ketchmark for that one, since he does have a little bit of experience with some of that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And Commissioner Hewsome, you want to stay with the alternate?
Sure.
Perfect.
Central Mississippi River Regional Planning Partnership. This has morphed into something. It started out with a river crossing over the Mississippi in Monticello, and has now looked at regional planning to try and get those on Sherburne County and Wright County on the same page to plan for a whole region area.
Mr. Chair, I think just for the cleaner aspect of it, I would think I would like to stay on it. 'Cause
Yeah,
it might be,
I-
the
since
learning
you-
curve would be quite steep if we move somebody new
Yeah.
into that one.
And
I
since
agree.
it touches also on Otsego, I'm going to continue with that one too as the alternate for now. The Clearwater River Watershed District. This was one we looked at that we're not sure if we need to be on this, even have it as a committee. I remember we got an email from
Attorney's office, so we don't have to be on it. We don't, there's no statutory requirement for us to, attend them, because we're not even actually part of the board. We don't even actually have any kind of
Any say or
any
anything.
say. So I think I would move to just delete it out. I don't,
I will second that,
Well, are there
or,
commissioners,
well, we're gonna.
Ketchmark, Commissioner Wetter, do you have
problem with that?
any?
It doesn't matter to me. I do know somebody on our SWCD board is on that
Okay.
Clearwater River Watershed District board. So we do already, in a way, have somebody there.
And we
Okay.
appoint people too from this board here, so
Okay.
that, yep, so there's really, I think it's a lot of duplication for us to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree.
Mr. Chair, there's also Clearwater River Watershed District also includes commissioners from Meeker County and Stearns County. And in my years of attending the meetings, the other counties did not have anyone there.
Okay.
So I think that that's a good indication because, you know, as Commissioner Vetch said, we don't really say anything, you know, we observe the whole time. So it's not something that, you know, I feel that if we get the minutes from what they're doing and that kind of thing, that they that we can keep abreast of that, but they are a taxing authority, so I think it's good to keep.
Keep an eye on it?
watch. Yep, make
Okay.
sure that everything's done correctly.
Right. Sound good?
Yep.
All righty. County Extension Service. This is working with, University of Minnesota, 4-H and that sort of stuff. It was former Commissioner Burrell and Potter. Any interest in that?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Wetter? Anybody else have any interest in it? If not, I'll take it for my remaining years. Somebody else jumped on it. Delegates to AMC,
Mr. Chair, I'd like to keep general government. We have to delegate within the 4 different pieces within there. Safety, HHS, general government, and environmental.
okay.
So I would like to keep general government.
Wasn't there transportation one?
Or transportation too, yeah, there's 5 of them, yep. So transportation, safety, law enforcement, general government, environment, and HHS.
Okay, I had HHS. You had
I had public safety.
Public safety, general government. And you didn't want transportation?
Well, I guess I probably should move to transportation as much as I do love general government, but I will move to transportation in light of the fact that I am taking on some of these other regional transportation committees, so.
Okay, so we have
have 2
general
spots.
government and we have environment. Commissioner Wetter, it sounds like with your experience, environment might be the best suited for yourself,
Sure.
the soil and water.
And, Mr. Chair, just so an idea, like, general government is a lot of it has to do with taxation, and the different, like, property taxation codes is a lot of the stuff what they discuss in general government. So a lot of it comes with changes to the tax code, so.
And,
Okay.
I mean, if Commissioner Ketchmark is more interested in public safety, I love that committee, but there's a lot of former law enforcement and different people on that committee. It's also EMS type thing, so.
I'd probably be more comfortable with
You're
that.
probably more comfortable with that.
So Commissioner Ketchmark will be doing public safety, you'll be doing general government, Commissioner Houston?
I could,
Okay.
yeah.
Commissioner Vetch will be doing
Transportation. Yep.
transportation, Commissioner Wetter will be doing environmental, and I'll be sticking with HHS. Okay. East Central Joint Powers Board, this is regarding Lino Lakes, if I remember correctly?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we're in the process of redoing our JPA, so I'd like to continue on that board at this time.
Okay. Any objections to that at all? Economic Development Partnership Board, this is going to be doing some changing there. I believe Commissioner Vetch, you were the alternate, it doesn't show up on here.
Yes, and I'd like to take this spot on the Wright County Economic Development Partnership.
Well, since you're on the other one, it would make sense to
Makes
have.
sense.
Okay.
I'll be the alternate if you want, still need one, since I'm on the other Central
Okay.
Economic Development,
All right.
Mr. Chair.
It didn't look like we had one, but I thought there always was
I
one.
thought there was 2.
Great River Regional Library Board. This meets in St. Cloud, and I don't remember what day it was anymore.
It's a Tuesday afternoon, I think,
I think it is too. It's like
Yep,
2
late
o'clock on a
afternoon.
Tuesday, I think it is, something like that.
Yeah, and I have
4 o'clock.
6,
6, 5, and 6. Okay. Is anybody interested in running up to St. Cloud for the library board? As former Commissioner Potter?
Were you
Buddy?
interested, Commissioner Vetch, or?
if you're interested, go by all means. I'm filling in a lot of slots, so.
Well, I'll take it. There's 3 libraries in District 5 I can think of, so that's fine.
You got me beat. You got more
There's some-
libraries than me.
Some vested interest there.
Okay.
You're going to continue as alternate?
I'll continue as alternate.
I know conflicts with some of my other meetings that I have. Highway 55 Coalition, those that live in that district or work in represent that district, I think, are best suited. So Commissioner Hewsome and Commissioner Wetter, if
Sure.
that's all right with you.
Sure.
No reason for me to be, or anybody else to be involved in that, since I don't have any Highway 55 in my district. Historical Society. West former Commissioner Potter, this is the Historical Society out by the new area out on 25. Is anybody interested in that at all?
Mr. Chair, I would be.
Commissioner Wetter. I-94 Coalition, I would recommend Commissioner Vetch just because of all the different highways. Like I said, I think we need to have one voice.
Mr. Chair, I'd
With all
like that
of them?
spot, yes, especially since a large portion of my district is along that corridor.
Really?
I know, it's hard to believe it. I think, you're second.
Okay, Law Library Board, Commissioner Houston, you want to continue with that one?
Yes, please,
Or- okay.
especially since I got elected president. That
Let's-
saves a step.
So if you didn't want it, this would be the time to get out of being
Yeah.
chair.
Right.
Legislator Matters, it's all of us. Mentor at the MEDA program, Commissioner Houston, you want to continue with that?
Yes, there again, since Tom Kelly has left, and I also became elected as chair of this one.
You're stuck with it. Okay.
I like it, though.
Minnesota Rural Counties, it was former Commissioners Burrell and Potter.
Commissioner Kaczmarek should take
Kaczmarek,
this role. I think
you do represent the largest rural part of the county.
Sure, I'll take it.
And anybody else want the, as an alternate?
Mr. Chair, I would.
Okay. Monticello Joint Planning Board, since you live in Monticello and represent Monticello, I would recommend Commissioner Vetch to continue with that one. One Watershed, One Plan Policy Committee. It had been former Commissioner Burrell. I'm assuming Commissioner Wetter, this is something that you probably have more interest in.
Mr. Chair, yes.
Commissioner Ketchmark, do you have any issues with that?
No,
Park Advisory Boards, I'd like to continue on that one. Planning Commission was former Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Ketchmark, would you be interested in that one?
anyone else?
I think it's best suited, you have the most townships, it makes the most sense for you
Sure.
to be.
Sounds good.
Okay. I mean, I could do it since I have since I've taken care of all my townships. But if you're interested, that's fine.
Sure.
Public Works Labor Management, Commissioner Hewsome?
I'm fine to continue unless someone else, I mean, I really enjoy the meetings, but, yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Vetch, you want it as alternate, or should we
Sure.
go with some? Region 7W Transportation, I would recommend Commissioner Vetch again. We're going to need to have one voice on all the highways. Regional Crime, Commissioner Houston, you want to continue with that one?
Sure.
Safe Communities of Wright County,
Yes, please.
any objections to that at all?
No.
Safe Harbor Task Force, any objections if Commissioner Houston continues with that? What's this SWCD?
Never heard of it.
Was former Commissioner Burrell.
Mr. Chair.
Who wants that one?
Mr. Chair, I'll take it.
Commissioner Ketchmark, do you have any concerns about that? Issues?
No, sounds good.
Okay. I'd be interested in that one, but it conflicts with another meeting I have. Trailblazer Joint Powers Board.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to continue on the Trailblazer Board.
Okay.
I would like to recommend we continue our relationship with the mayors of the county. I would like to, pending her approval, appoint Terry Lockemeyer from the city of Buffalo onto the Trailblazer Board.
Okay. And as an alternate, anybody have an interest in that? Trailblazer Joint Powers Board.
Mr. Chair, I would.
Okay. The Turn Steering Committee, this is the drug, is it drug court?
Mm-hmm.
You want to continue with that, Commissioner
Yes,
Houston?
please.
Twin Cities urbanized areas, UZA boundaries, it was Commissioner Potter. Again, I'd kind of recommend Commissioner Vetch to take that one over. I think that meets once a year. Water Management Task Force.
Just in the light of taking all these transportations, I'd like to see if someone would take it, just because my schedule's filling up quite.
Commissioner Vetch is getting the transportation thing, so he may need to back off from that one.
Water Management Task Force, I don't know, is this one that is going to continue much longer with the one
We
watershed, one
statutorily, I
plan?
think, still have to have it, so,
Still?
yep, so we can't.
Until I think the One Watershed, One Plan takes over, I think probably.
This could be the last year of it.
Yeah,
It's quarterly meetings, so 4 times this year you'll meet on it. Usually they're around at 6 or 7 o'clock on a Thursday evening.
Commissioner Wetter?
sure.
Commissioner Catchmark, do you have any concerns?
No,
Okay. Wright County Agricultural Society, otherwise known as the County Fair.
I'll take that.
It's in your district.
Right.
Sense. Wright County Area Transportation Advisory Council, WCAT, is this going to continue?
It will continue, but because with the Trailblazers has been operating in its traditional fashion due to the COVID, we hadn't met the last 2 quarters of the last year, so it will be, once they go back to normal operations.
I mean, the new normal?
The new normal, well, yeah, that's right, the new normal.
Do we need an alternate, or? another-
Just because of being part of the Trailblazer, I need,
Yeah.
it's helpful to be able to facilitate that meeting, so that I'd like to stay there myself and then just need another member.
Okay, so we'll go with Commissioner Wetter since she
Sure,
is the
I'll
alternate
do
for
it.
the Trailblazer Board.
Sure.
Wright County Community Action Council, this is a nonprofit that we are appointed to. Not a paying job, but it's kind of a, it helps a lot of different things. They work really closely with Health and Human Services. I would like to continue. I'm currently vice chair in that. Commissioner Ketchmark or Commissioner Wetter, we meet up in Maple Lake in the future. Currently, everything is online for the meetings right now. Do either of you have any interest in that at all? It meets on the second Tuesday each month.
Sure, I'll do it.
Wright County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee, Commissioner Houston?
Sure, I can continue on that unless Commissioner Cashmark wants it. We haven't had a meeting for a while. I think it's, they're again more of an ad hoc, and I don't know what future plans are for this, but do some planning, so.
I'm comfortable taking it if you'd like, but
Sure,
if
I mean-
you've been in it for a while, that's fine too.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've met, so but it's nice to keep it on here because they will need to meet again, so to update plans.
You want to continue it?
I mean, doesn't matter.
Well, you're there, so you
Okay,
decide.
all right.
You decide if you want to give it up.
Go ahead and take it.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I'll take that one.
Mr. Chair, there's one that was, I emailed in, I don't know if it made it on here, that was in addition, PAC, Policy Advisory Committee, Transportation. That one, Virgil sent some information over to the administration, and I
That should
attended
have
it last
been-
month.
Yeah, I don't see that one at all. That's the newest one, I believe.
That's that newest one that was just created.
Yeah, that's regarding the cities, and that's another highway, or
It's a
river crossing.
It's a transportation thing, yeah. Yep, so.
Okay, I thought that was covered under Region 7.
No, I think this was a different
This
one.
is a different one, yeah.
Okay,
No, well, we're in Region 3. I don't know.
I don't know. All I know is that it was titled as the PAC Transportation Committee, is what the,
yeah, it was Region 7W Transportation Policy Board.
is that what it is?
They had requested an appointment that was a fairly recent.
I didn't know if that was a subsidiary of the original or what, I mean, is it,
I understood it to be the one that was listed as the Region 7 Transportation on what would be the about fourth page,
so
second
it's the
last
same
page.
group, just, they're just calling it a different name now?
Believe so?
Well, we can bring it back next week.
All right.
Or the week after.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, we got through half of them.
More than
Next
that.
Wednesday, we get through the rest of them. All right.
But we should have a motion and a second to
Yep.
adopt
Well,
the
Mr.
full
Chair, I'll
slate.
make a motion to set the advisory committees as stated
I will second that.
with the removal of the Clearwater River Watershed District.
All right. Is there any other discussions? Are you guys sure? Anybody wants to discuss any of these committee meetings? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Imagine that. Okay. Now on to the real stuff. The county board minutes of December 29th, 2020, of last year.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the December 29th, 2020 board minutes.
I will second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Houston. Is there any discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Review and approval of the agenda. Is there anything that needs to be added to the agenda?
I think
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Newsom.
Commissioner Houston.
I would like to add on the consent agenda, another appointment we have under planning and zoning. We have A, B, C. I would like to add D,
Okay,
would be to appoint Bob Newman, District 1, for a 3-year term on the Board of Adjustment. And I apologize if this came in late. We just learned in mid-December that the person in my district would not continue. So we put the word out. We sent out to all the townships, the water districts, water associations, and also got recommendations. And we did have 3 people that were interested, and I vetted them and selected Bob Newman, so I'd like to add that to the consent agenda. There's
Okay.
no objection.
anything else that needs to be added?
You know what I should thought, and maybe I'll just put this to consent agenda, or maybe it's not. I just realized that we should have reaffirmed, because myself and you were appointed to the Business Relief Committee, but that wasn't part of this, and it's still ongoing. We can't assume, since there's 2 board members, that would continue forward. Administrator Kelly?
Yes, that was my assumption it would,
Oh.
since we'd assigned it in the
How'd that go?
December.
It's just a temporary one anyway.
It's just temporary, but I didn't know if
Correct.
they had to, because since we're doing new committee assignments, if we had to be reviewed as part of that, because it would be essentially.
I think since it's just a temporary one.
Is there any objection anyways? That way then if there's not, then. Yep.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Letter?
audience.
Oh,
Bob Hebola.
Morning. On the consent agenda, I think maybe we should just acknowledge that we're in our 2nd year of our official newspaper 3-year contract. Normally, the first board meeting of the year, we set our official newspaper. So,
okay. That was 3 years, you said?
yep.
Correct.
It's kind of nice instead of having to do it every year.
We got better rates that way, 2020, 2021, 2022.
Wonderful. And just for the public, our official newspaper is?
Howard Lake Journal.
I suppose that's one thing we should just make note of every year, of who our official newspaper is.
Mr. Chair, is it the time to remove other things for discussion from the consent?
Yes, if you have
Well,
something.
no, we
We
haven't.
haven't
Oh, no,
approved the
not
agenda.
yet. No,
And
we're
then
just
we'll-
modifying the agenda.
Okay.
Yep. The agenda, you added.
Oh,
you
that
added
changed
with-
yet.
Is there a motion? I can't remember. Did you make the motion? I'll make a motion with the addition that from Commissioner Houston to approve today's agenda as presented with that addition.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Redd, second by Commissioner Hewson. Is there anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Consent agenda. Okay, is there anything that anybody would like to remove for further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd like to remove item under letter B, number 1A. There's a position replacement there under Health and Human Services.
Yep.
And then second thing under letter D, items 1 and 2 are position backfill Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
Mr.
All right.
Chair, are you making a motion then to approve the items with those exceptions?
Yes.
All right.
I will second his motion.
Motion by Commissioner Ketchmark, second by Commissioner Fetch. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. All right. Commissioner Ketchmark, item B.
Okay, so looking over the agenda and it being my first meeting and considering the pandemic situation, I'm just trying to get a better handle on the requests for positions, whether replacements or new. And is the Health and Human Services Director here?
Likely
No, but
online.
that's the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Coordinator is a replacement position. Somebody resigned,
Yeah.
Okay.
was leaving, so.
I had just a couple of questions about if the hiring process has started, is there an eligibility list? What goes into that? What's a time frame? That kind of thing? Are those things we can directly ask?
Yeah, I would just contact her and you can have that discussion.
Unless, maybe Administrator Kelly, Mr. Chair, maybe he had some input.
Are they,
Yeah, sure. I did have some discussion with Commissioner Ketchmark yesterday around this position, kind of talking the background on the wages. As you mentioned, it is a replacement of a position that resigned to take another position outside the county. I don't believe the recruitment has started yet, but I'm not 100% on that. This would be per the union contract. We would have to post this for a minimum, I believe it is of 7 days. We do not have an eligibility list for this position in the AFSCME contracts. So any other questions I can assist with? Otherwise, I know Sean is online too, if there's.
And Mr. Chair, Commissioner Ketchmark, I know his position, she's actually done a great job. She attends the EMS meetings and takes the minutes for that. Plus, as part of the nuclear and then all the other emergency preparedness. So I don't know all of her job duties, but the person that's leaving has, done a real good job.
Mr. Chair, a lot of this is a grant writing position.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of this is in accessing a lot of the nuclear funds and getting the grants and stuff. They work a lot with our emergency management staff.
I see Commissioner,
Is Jamie on?
Jamie is online.
She isn't. Oh, there she is.
Yes, I am.
Okay, there you go.
Do you have anything else to add?
And I would just say for this particular position, it was just, as you mentioned, a recent resignation. With the pandemic, this position has, of course, been highlighted and has been working closely with MDH and with our emergency services and is very involved in both the public health response and now the vaccination distribution planning and those kinds of things. Also works closely with a lot of our Code Red and other items. It was a position that was developed. This is our first person that's been in this position. We reclassified a health promotion coordinator into this work, and we worked along with the sheriff's office and with administration and HR to develop this position. And to date, we found it immensely, important to have as part of our public health response. Even without a pandemic, this person works in a lot of our plans and our emergency planning with the communities. So certainly not one that we would want to wait on, especially during the pandemic, or lose. So I would request that we go ahead and fill this position. Thank you.
And thank you. I'm glad that helps a lot, and just instead of just seeing position replacement, that I'd like to have a little more information, because sometimes just because you can do something, you maybe always shouldn't. So it's good to have a little more background. So was this a different position before and it got reclassified recently?
We were doing the work before, but it was amongst the different public health coordinators, and so this was a public health coordinator position, which was reclassified into the current emergency planning position. And I think with the latest class comp study, I think it moved a little bit. It's maybe not in the same class as the public health coordinator position had been prior to this. So I think we probably had it for maybe a year and a half or so. I'm just kind of guessing. But it wasn't a new position. We just took one of our existing positions and reclassified it 1 or 2 years ago.
Commissioner Ketchmark, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but if you go online and you look at our agenda, there's something that says documents. If you click on that information, it kind of gives you a little bit more background information also.
And we could provide more information on that. I think, those have gotten kind of pretty generic lately. This is a vacant position we're asking to be replaced, and I think that's pretty much what all the departments are doing. But if there's a desire to, put in more information as far as the justification for the position, that's certainly something that we could do in the future.
That might be a very good idea with the 2 new commissioners on board, just to help them understand why we do things, and that we're not just doing them for the heck of it.
Thank you. And
Yes,
Mr. Chair, reference that
we generally have a good reason for our positions.
reference that document. I talked to Sue about it yesterday, but I opened it up and it was blank.
Oh, really?
I guess there's 2 different formats out where you have to push a certain button and then it populates. So that's all I had was a blank form.
Oh, so there was
till
nothing
later.
there. Okay.
And then I talked with Mr. Kelly and we kind of figured that out. But yes, I think more information going forward to the process and make things go quicker at the meeting is good.
Okay.
We still might have questions, but
No, that's fine. All right.
All right,
so
thank you.
You got that answered. Would you make a motion to approve it?
yes, I'll make a motion to approve the position replacement.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Ketchmark, second by Commissioner Houston. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Commissioner Ketchmark, item D.
Okay, position backfill for 1 deputy FTE due to resignation. Is Sean here? Okay, so again, trying to catch up with the first meeting and the position. That's all we have to work with is a resignation. What division did the person work in that resigned?
And there was not some information on that PDF under the documents?
It said what division he was in?
I don't know.
Oh,
I think it's,
Oh,
well, Mr. Chair?
oh, that's all it says. Okay. Okay.
hello, Sean, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioner. I believe this is going to be, the Chief Deputy does these obviously, but I believe this is going to be Tyler Nelson from the Patrol Division.
Okay. So is there anything else, like we heard from Health and Human Services, as far as a proposal or sense of urgency or anything besides requesting the position backfill?
Well, it's obvious, it's an authorized position right now. It's an authorized deputy, and obviously we're looking to backfill that position. All of our numbers are accounted for.
Okay, and that's a question again, because it's very brief on the agenda here. And where are you at with an eligibility list? Do you have somebody that you call now and say, hey, we got an open spot and they have to be backgrounded, or what's that time frame and list look like if there is one?
On paper, I'm 7 down currently. I had 1 start yesterday. I'm swearing them in this morning. I've got 5 conditional job offers out there right now, pending psychs. Our psychs are actually delaying us right now. They're about 3 weeks out for a psych, which is kind of killing us, but it's just what we have to work with. And so I've got another position or 2 pending after that. But we're doing another round of interviews, and we've got more backgrounds out there. But we'll end up posting pretty soon again.
But this particular position, where is this in the process, like your list? Do you have somebody in the wings to say their background's done and everything, and where would it be at for this particular opening for Nelson?
I'm not quite sure
Well,
what you're asking.
Where are you at in the hiring process as far as a list for this particular opening? Do you have somebody where a background and everything's already been done, where you call them up and say they have to go to the site next, or what's the time frame and pieces left to hire this person?
That particular backfill would probably come out of our next batch of backgrounds, those currently in background right now. Like I
Okay.
said, I've got 1 that started yesterday, and 5 conditional job offers have been made pending the psych and the physical. So
Mr.
this
Chair?
particular position would probably come outside of that.
Commissioner Vetch?
I think a lot of this stuff is stuff that Commissioner Kaczmarek, and since this is a two-way conversation, I think that this is stuff that we can put this item on hold unless he doesn't have any questions to it. Otherwise, he can do this offline. I don't necessarily know that this questioning has to happen in this forum. I think a lot of these questions, since it's not, he's getting more information just on that specific position. I think after he answers those questions, if he had to come back and wanted to present some of that information to the board, would be a better fashion. So,
Yeah, it's either that or it should be sent to Personnel Committee if there's a major concern with it or something like that.
Well,
for further discussions.
Thank you, and I do have more questions that I think is relevant to the position, and this is a position that we know the cost and hire and train and equip a deputy is about $50,000. And I think, like I said, if you're authorized to do it, we also have to look at the need for it. And so in my preparation for the agenda, I've been doing some checking with different resources and allocation of deputies up there. And I ran across the court division that we have that's court security. And I talked to a couple elected officials that work in the court division. And they have said that there hasn't been any court going on for several months. So we have what I would say would be a bullpen after a head count of 8 deputies and a supervisor that are in that court division, and we haven't had any court for several months. So these folks are 20 to 30 years of experience, and the cost of those folks for the year would be around $740,000. So I would like to hear that we've used all of our extra resources. These positions were approved with different boards and different times than and we have to keep up with the current times and conditions. So if we have potentially 9 people that are in a court division at the county that have been paid for the whole year at a cost of about $740,000, now we're starting a new year with no end in sight. We've got a very high-profile trial that is in the process of being possibly moved to the summer that was supposed to start in March. So I want to make sure that we're using all the resources that we have on hand before we take on another position.
Mr. Chair, and if I remember, as I heard correctly, we have 7 open positions, and you're speaking of 9. I guess how vulnerable do you make yourself? If you have 7 open, you have 9 in a bullpen that are maybe not being fully utilized, that leaves you a margin of 2, and if any given day you could lose 2 people, 5 people, how, especially when you're talking about public safety. So how lean do you run it?
Well, and to that question, the question is for the sheriff. He's the one up here proposing for the new position, so I'm trying to find out.
No, he's not proposing a new position.
The replacement. So I'm just trying to find out how all these people in particular that I've ran across are being utilized. Can you?
We actually have 2 people reassigned to the sheriff's office. When the pandemic started, we had over 60,000 multiple name cards within our records management system. We've reassigned a couple of people to work within the sheriff's office to rectify that, so that's an ongoing basis. Obviously, with a 140,000 square foot building, there's still staff coming in. Just this week alone, well, the end of last week and now the beginning of this week, we've had 2 disorderly people show up at court administration and court services, and we've had to deal with that. And so, obviously, there's still security issues that need to take place. I can't just clean everybody out of there. There's still staff coming in. There's still in custodies being seen, and those bailiffs actually are helping get the computer set up for their Zoom court hearings. So they come up from downstairs in the jail. They still get hooked into the computer. They still do the Zoom meeting, but that's all being done in the Justice Center. So I still need those resources, or some of those resources over there. We've scaled it back, and we've reassigned some other people to do some other responsibilities. Yes, it may look like 90% of the time they're sitting there at the front doors watching nothing come in, but obviously there's still a need with staff coming in. It's still our responsibility as the sheriff's office to provide security for the Justice Center.
Okay.
Okay. And for the office tech?
So that position, I'd just like to go to a kind of a short chain of events here, since I've been attending meetings when I was on this side as an onlooker and observer. But we had a meeting that you were at where you were asking to reclassify the office manager to a business manager based on a Baker Tilly recommendation that came out and was finally made public in 2020. So the money difference there, that it wasn't discussed at a meeting, and I don't know if there was emails and things that I didn't get, but that pay raise cost $7,900. That's what that difference is from what I did some checking. Then we went on to the salary meeting where you were given a 9% raise, which was $13,000. This is all leading up to the next meeting was you needed a confidential secretary. Now, I tried to find out what is the starting wage for this confidential secretary that is a new position. That wasn't part of the proposal or the discussion, which in the future I would hope that we would have something like that to work off. So we got a job and a job description, but we don't have a wage attached to it.
Mr. Chair, this isn't pertinent to the subject at hand. This is regarding, he was pulled a consent item for the backfill of one office tech two.
Yes, this is some foundation to that though, because the board asked a couple that are here now, this is after the budget. How do you propose we pay for this? They asked Sean, and I read in the minutes that he said through attrition. So attrition to me is when people resign or retire that you don't replace them. So now we've got after that confidential secretary was approved, now we have a $60,000 person that person moved into the new position, so we're replacing that, but now we have a backfill of a person retiring. So my question is, when you explained on how we're going to pay for that, and you said attrition, and now we have a proposal for a replacement and retirement, I guess I'm just wondering when that starts or what your thought is on that.
Commissioner Ketchmark, it wasn't just through attrition. It was through positions that have been open, that haven't been hired, such as what he just stated, that there was 5 open positions now. So there's money that's being saved because those positions haven't been filled yet. So there's money there that has not been spent. So with that sort of money, his budget will not be raised. So as deputies and other personnel leave the sheriff's office, somebody leaves that or retires that is at max. New person comes in starting at a lower wage. There's a difference in there to help pay for this sort of thing. And to continue with this, it needs to go to a personnel committee because we need to move on with other things too. Commissioner Houston.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I would just echo that. So that might have gotten somehow misconstrued because my understanding too, and I was the one that posed the question, when it was not through attrition, it was because of unfilled positions. So he has a budget surplus, and that's the money that will be used to cover the extra expense of this position. And then next year, in 2022, would be officially, part of the budget. So it's still part of the budget, but it doesn't impact the county budget. It just impacts the sheriff's budget, that he's using the funds from unfilled positions. So it's not attrition, it's actually unfilled positions. And, all of the departments, essentially, most of them, particularly the sheriff's office and Health and Human Services, they have monies at the end of the year, a lot of budget surplus because of unfilled positions. So
To make
that's all.
Mr. Chair, to make it simplify it, in an overly simplistic view, the county budget's all personnel at 100%. But we gave a modification for the sheriff for this next year to budget his staff at 89, 90% so he could fulfill this position. The reason he'll be able to do that is because almost no large department spends 100% of their personnel line, because there's always open spots in the year. Usually they finish somewhere between 85 and 98 on the large departments. Only your small ones actually use 100% of their personnel costs. So he's actually actualizing that money to pay for that position.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, would you make a motion to approve this or not? And then,
A motion to approve the replacement position for the office tech.
I'll second that.
and deputy?
Yes, and the deputy. I thought we did that one already, but okay.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion and a second.
All right.
Any other further discussions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Gee, is it 9:02 already?
Yes, sir.
All right, who did the agenda? Thinking we'd be at 9:02 to take care of business.
Or 10 would do.
Mr. Hawkins, are you online? Are you still awake?
Yes, good morning, Chairman and Board of Commissioners. Today there's two highway items for your consideration. The first item is to approve a resolution to revoke a portion of Highway right-of-way and Highway 39 in Otsego. And this was part of our Highway 39 reconstruction project in front of the Coburns. And this is agreed to turn this to the city, and they will vacate it to a trail easement from the developer. And there's a resolution that was prepared for your consideration.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to revoke a portion of CASA 39 right-of-way to the city of Otsego.
Motion by Commissioner Retz. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Wetter has a second. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Resolution, Mr. Chair.
Oh, resolution.
Roll call.
Roll call vote. Commissioner Catchmark.
Aye.
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 Resolution carries unanimous. Item number 2.
Okay, thank you. The second item is to approve agreement number 20-59 for pedestrian trail and pavement improvements on our Highway 7 and Howard Lake. And this is an agreement that the city of Howard Lake has already approved at a recent city council meeting. And this just kind of identifies the responsibilities for the improvement project that are planned for this year.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve agreement 2059 for the pedestrian trail and pavement improvements for for Highway 7, County Road Highway 7.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Vetch, second by Commissioner Hewsome. Is there any further discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Virgil.
Virgil?
Aye.
Administrator Kelly.
Thank you, sir. We have two resolutions as part of our beginning of the year for you to review. The first one being the setting of the county board per diems related to the committees as outlined in the resolution within your board. That is the first resolution for consideration.
Need to approve resolution setting county boards per diems. In the past, it was at $50 a day, and it is only for when we have committee meetings. It is not for when the board has its own normal meetings. Or also, I believe the workshops is also not included in the per diem.
I believe we have included
Workshop was in
those.
there, yeah.
Well, I kind of disagree with that one, but
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the per diem at the same rate as years previous of $50, based on the set metrics.
I'll second that with a question about the workshop. Yeah, Mr. Chair?
yes.
Yeah,
Here she is.
I wasn't aware that that was on there, and I also,
I haven't been taking it.
well, no, I don't know, I think that that's in lieu of our normal board meeting, so I'm not sure if that is a redeemable meeting, but
There was a big discussion point. It was more, because there's a lot of ambiguity into what things were and weren't, so that's where we were trying to clean it up, and I think that was one that was never really solidified, I think, in any kind of discussion. So, however you want to go about it, I don't really.
I would think that that's just part of our normal business.
Yep,
so
I agree.
That's,
Instead
and
of a
I'm
board
fine with
meeting,
that.
we're having a workshop.
I just stating that before it was, so I'm just saying if that's the way you want to go, I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah,
Just so we're.
I missed that. It was part of the,
Yeah, I never cut that one either. I haven't, like I said, I haven't claimed it at all. I just figured it's normal business. So, resolution setting county board per diem, so it would be $50 for committees only, does not include, the county workshop, that takes place in place of the regular county board meetings, and does not include the county board meetings. All right, so I still have Commissioner Vetch, you made that motion?
Yes.
And Commissioner Newsom, is there any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion, all those opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. Resolution setting per diems for appointees to the County Board and Health and Human Services Board Committee, boards and commissions. This is strictly for the county board?
no,
No, this is for people in the Parks Commission, HHS advisories, all the many.
The planning and zoning.
Planning
Planning and
and
zoning,
commission.
we've treated something a little bit special,
Yeah.
if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
I kind of want to modify that one a little bit again, just because based on discussion, it's cleaner if we don't put an hour amount, if we just put a flatter dollar amount for just that committee itself, just because the planning commission's meetings are extraordinarily lengthy. I mean,
Yeah, I'm thinking that they should go back to twice a month instead of.
which that could be too.
Each depending on which, how the meeting is packed, but yeah, especially when there's some that are very controversial. So what is your suggestion?
I mean, I'm looking at it, it'd be different discussion if they're gonna go to twice a month, but if we're continuing at the rate we're right now, where they're meeting for 3 to 6 hours,
They are.
Yeah.
and more of them averaging more in the 4 to 5 hour mark, that's the reason I'm kind of setting it at $100, is where I think it should just be a flat $100 on the per diem for the planning commission, but
Where are we currently?
they are at, I think,
$60 under 4 hours and 100 for exceeding 4 hours.
Oh, I didn't print that out, thank you.
And I think, even on if they go to twice a month, they were still averaging almost 3 hours. And I think even if you just set it at the $100, that's still for the amount of work that's just the physical time. They're not counting the amount of time that they have in the preparation prior to the meeting in reviewing all the different proposals coming before them for that evening, which they are not given anything for. And I think they're not asking for anything from that board, but I think we should appreciate them for the amount of level of work they have to put into for that committee.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner
I
Houston?
wonder if that should be brought up with our planning and zoning administrator. He stepped out now, but I wonder if that's a discussion, whether they need to do a second meeting as needed. I mean, if they have they can have a long list of things, and a 5-6 hour meeting gets very, very tiring.
Yeah,
So-
especially for the people that have to sit through it for a 15-minute thing at the very end.
Right, yep.
I would suggest, at this point, let's continue the way it is, and let's have that discussion with them. I have no problem with changing it if they're gonna continue with one a month. Right now, it's strictly online, I believe. And the Board of Adjustments, so what we got here is Parks and Recreation at 50, Planning at 60, anything over 4 hours, it gets increased to 100, not an additional 100. It's just, it gets increased an additional 40.
Yeah.
And the Board of Adjustments is also at 60. And then Health and Human Services Advisory Committees, Central Minnesota Council on Aging, is 50. Actually, they're all 50 on the Health and Human Services Advisory Committee. Is there any additional discussions on that?
I'll make a motion setting those per diems, Mr. Chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hewsom, second by Commissioner Ketchmark. Any other discussions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Resolution, sir.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries unanimous. I'm
We should
sorry.
do it as a roll call as it was a resolution.
Oh,
Sorry, I
Oh, I
didn't catch you in
apologize.
time.
I'm new at this.
Fair enough.
I got an excuse this time. Commissioner Ketchmark.
Aye.
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 Motion, resolution carries unanimous. All right. Were both of those, did we vote on both of them?
Yes, separately.
And resolution was the first one too? Did I
Correct,
do that?
yes. Yep.
Did I do that one correctly?
Yes,
Wow, okay.
Eric caught you.
Items for consideration on the short meeting today. Topics to discuss for our workshop meeting next week on
Mr.
January
Chair?
12th.
I have 3 topics which I have shared with Administrator Kelly to begin getting information for next week's workshop. One of them is I'd like to discuss an emergency ordinance review regarding solar farms. The second item that I wanted to put on there is county ditch review and buffer grant balance and equipment needs for county ditches. And then the other one is the discussion about the Minnesota Intercounty Association discussion.
So what?
Micah.
Okay.
So, those are the 3 items that I want to put on the workshop next week.
Okay. Commissioner Ketchmark, is there anything in particular you'd like to see for discussions next week?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Wetter?
No. No, sir.
Commissioner Hewsom?
No, I guess we could perhaps add any updates that we have on this next batch of money that we're distributing, or are we not going to be ready for that? Just maybe an overview of the process of that with the business
Mr. Chair, I think we
grant?
could walk them through at least. We could show them what the application looks like and kind of talk about where because we'll be.
The applications just went out. so
Application
we
will
should
be
have-
live tomorrow, and we should have some numbers then by next Tuesday to kind of show what the numbers are coming in at.
And I think that, you know, our new commissioners particularly would appreciate kind of being brought up to speed. We've certainly had a lot of, I didn't have heavy lifting, but certainly the committee and has had a lot of heavy lifting with the whole CARES Act and getting everything in a timely manner and gathering all that information. And I guess, you know, we did drive and help make the decisions on it, but it would probably be good just to get an update on that.
Okay. Administrator Kelly, is there anything that you would like to see added next week? Any discussions we need to have?
Not for next week. I think this is a good list of topics for the time. There's a number I have just scattered throughout the year, but I think this is a good first meeting.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if it makes sense if we discuss it when we discuss the commissioner handbook or if we discuss it at next week's workshop, but everybody kind of submitting in either to the chair or to the administrator, topics for the year for, the workshop. I mean, obviously it's pretty fluid because things come up as the year moves on, but I think in the past when we all submitted ideas out there of things that we needed to discuss and kind of getting them placed and when it makes the most sense was a good starting point for the year.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Vesh, can you name anything in particular in 2020 that came up unexpectedly?
I can't. And just a reminder, to everybody, we do have the Committee of the Whole on the Commissioner Handbook on Thursday at 9:30. And I believe that's both in person and Zoomed. Hopefully we'll all be able to be here so that we have hands-on information on the handbook. And I believe yesterday the new one was sent out. I'm assuming Commissioner Wetter, Commissioner Ketchmark, you have access to all the other information now.
Right.
Okay. All right. So I think that's it. We don't need a vote on that at all. So yeah, anything that you have a concern about or have interested in, I ask that you either provide it to myself or to Administrator Kelly, which will be reviewed by the whole board before it's approved to be on the workshops. Right? Anything else? Okay. Advisory committee, advisory board updates. I'm just really not much going on. I just wanted to welcome our new commissioners, Commissioner Wetter and Commissioner Ketchmark, and our new county attorney. I don't know if he wants to say a few things. If he wasn't a very good politician, from my understanding, but he may have a few words.
I said enough words yesterday at my swearing in at the Justice Center, but I'd just like to personally welcome Commissioner Ketchmark and Commissioner Wetter, and I do look forward to working with the board. I plan to attend pretty regularly. Civil things are not my strength, and I know Mr. Asleson and Mr. Kreiser are both online, but I think it's important just to stay in touch with what's going on in the county and to be a presence, so I do plan on being here regularly at the board meetings. So welcome to our new commissioners, and I look forward to a great working relationship with the board.
Thank you.
Commissioner Houston?
Yeah, County Attorney Lewis, it was a very, very nice swearing in yesterday. Thank you for your words, and it was actually pretty touching, so.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And your compliments to, working with County Attorney Kelly all those years, so, yeah, appreciated it.
Sure. Yeah, I kind of used it as a little retirement ceremony for Tom, since we can't do that in COVID times. And just for everybody, I renamed one of our conference rooms in honor of Tom and for all his years of service. So one of the conference rooms at our county attorney office at the Justice Center will be renamed the Kelly Room.
Yeah,
Oh, not number 2 pencil?
There's a picture of a number 2 pencil on it.
Oh, good. All right.
That's a subtitle, number 2 lead pencil.
For those that aren't aware of it, that's former County Attorney Kelly. That's always said that's what he used, is the number 2 pencil. Had no interest in computers, so we always gave him always tease him with that. As long as you're here, when is the courts planning on? I thought that they were going to start having some in sessions, but that's not going to be yet for a while?
The current Supreme Court order suspended all in-person hearings. With very limited exceptions, you could possibly do a speedy jury trial with approval of the local chief judge of our judicial district and also the Supreme Court justice. And we've been fortunate to avoid in-custody speedy trial demands. So the current Supreme Court order limits or suspends in-person hearings at least through February 1st. So I don't know what's going to happen after that.
Nobody does right now.
Correct, yeah.
And it's not just at the courts, it's kind of everywhere.
Right. And I can just say for our office, we do things differently, and we're certainly not as effective in resolving cases, but we do a lot of court by Zoom. So my attorneys are appearing in court regularly with at least three criminal calendars going every day, in addition to child support cases and juvenile matters and also commitment matters. So it's a different way of doing business, but we are effective at having court hearings via Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
New commissioners, this is kind of a point where we just talk a little bit about advisory committees, advisory boards updates. We normally hold it to a 3-minute time frame per commissioner, except for Commissioner Houston, we keep to 1.5 minutes because she always goes over anyway. So, do you have anything that you would like to get out there at all, Commissioner Ketchmark?
No, I'm just anxious to get going, get these 64 boards allocated out, and we'll move forward.
Commissioner Houston?
No, just working with constituents. It turned out to be a busy end of the year, but so that's good.
Yeah. Commissioner Vetch?
So, a couple different pieces. So, as stated earlier, the business relief funds from the county perspective will be live Wednesday/Thursday of this week for those that are looking out there to apply for business relief funds. If you are a business that was in the batch of funds that were distributed by the Department of Revenue or deed, that $100 million pot of money that was direct payment that you did not need to apply for, you should have already received those funds. If you have not received those funds, please, now would be the time to contact the Department of Revenue. So those that you did get funds, directly payment for them from the state, are also welcome to apply for funds through the county through our business relief grants. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer questions for you.
That's it, Commissioner Ritter?
I have nothing to say. Looking forward to continuing the relationship here, and that's about it.
Okay. Do we want to hear from Administrator Kelly at all, or?
He always has a lot.
I know it, that's what worries me.
Will do.
Administrator Kelly.
Certainly, again, I've had the opportunity to discuss a little bit with the two of the new commissioners, and welcome aboard. I look forward to working with you in the future. Certainly a lot going on right now with some reorg things, and turn of the year is always a big thing. Our ERP project continues to be a big ongoing project, and a lot of hard decisions are having to be made on that at the current time. So, yeah, a lot going on. So please feel free to reach out with questions you have, and we'll be more than happy to assist.
All right. Anything else to come before the board? If not, we are adjourned at 10:38.
That was pretty good.